Okay. I've decided that for the morning clip, for the first clip of this news show that we're going to do, this first fun clip, for all you people who are here early and can appreciate off-the-wall humor, we're going to be dropping, we in the royal sense of we, going to be dropping one of the weirder of the clips. Here it comes.
Hi there, Sugar Britches.
Hey, Miss Dorothy Ann, how are you?
Good. Well, hey, do me a favor and let that mama of yours know that I think she's a home-wrecking slut, won't you?
Come again?
I gotta go. Good to see you.
What the hell just happened?
All right. So here we go. Is my mic on? That's a very good question. And I'm sure you're asking me whether or not my mic's on, because I don't think it is. I don't think it's plugged in. And this is a disaster. Is this a disaster? This is another instance of a live show. Now then, is the right mic on? This is not the question of the day, but this is a question. Here we go. Is this the right one? Well, I guess I'm assuming everyone can hear me, right? I assume I'm good. Thank you, Brain Bug. You can hear me fine. Excellent. All right. So, been up since what? 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe. I don't know. It's all a blur at this point. Welcome, everybody. What are we talking about today? Let's look at the set list. What are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about mulligans. We're going to be talking about cats and cat filters. Mr. Trump almost screaming, though I think he was probably screaming inside. And a bit of drama that happened in New Zealand about ties. How weird is that, right? So who's here? Coffee. We got a lot of people here today. Tobin Templeman. Good. Glad that you can hear me. Jess M. Good morning. Oh, John Hudson, you're on the money. The Texas Kitten in court. Yeah, that is beautiful. We're gonna get to that. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's in course. Rage is here. Rage has a great show. I have him I have Rage written down here to mention about his show at 10:30 to 11:30. He talked about being the toughest job around, which is being a parent. Yes, being a parent is an incredibly tough job. It is an incredibly tough job. You should check out his channel at 10:30. He's doing a show with John Peterson. They're going to be doing some fun stuff. They're going to be doing some smart stuff. We'll do some smart stuff here. But first, let me tell you about what I'm irritated about. Now, you may think I might be irritated about all the things in the world that are going on, about the horrible Trump defense yesterday, but I'm just going to bring it down to something that I think most of us can relate to, and this is going to be summed up in the question, the initial question: how late is it to shovel your freaking driveway? How late is it? Now, I'm going to give you something, a backstory here. Hey, Dr. Osiris. I just want to say that I went to bed at 11 o'clock at night, typically my typical time to go to bed. And for maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, there was nothing but the I can't even do the shovel sound right, but just and we really didn't get a whole lot of snow. I mean, all the snow should have already been shoveled, to tell you the truth. So I don't know if this person just decided to start shoveling for no apparent reason. Maybe they're just shoveling their lawn. But I think 11 o'clock at night, just to do a non-necessary shovel, I think after 9 o'clock, you shouldn't be shoveling unless it's a dire emergency. 9 o'clock at night, it's just like mowing your lawn on a Saturday morning. You shouldn't be doing that stuff before 10 o'clock. No mowing your lawn before 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekend. And there's definitely no shoveling at any time past 9 o'clock at night. And I think that's just common courtesy. That is just common courtesy. And yeah, maybe I'm a little agitated about it. Maybe I'm a little agitated about it. We got a ton of snow in Illinois. Sorry to hear that, sir. Sorry to hear about that. I had a neighbor back in the day who would just rev his motorcycle. He would just rev his motorcycle at random times at night. And he was one of those. His nickname was Mean Jerry. Well, that was the nickname I gave him because he was mean. So I had a crazy neighbor that just loved his motorcycle and loved revving it at all times of the night. And in the early morning, of course. But shoveling, not after 11 o'clock. Not after 9 o'clock at night. That's the line in the sand there. All right, now I got that off my chest. Let's get into the memes. Let's get into some funny stuff. All right, what do we have? What do we have to start off with? Oh, this one spoke to me. Oh, first I'm going to get rid of the stupid banner. Here we go. I can't explain it, but this is how I feel every day. And I love Eggo waffles. I like the yeah, I grew up on those. I'll admit that. Maybe I'll admit that. I grew up on waffles. That is a giant box of waffles. And that poor little girl stuck. I guess there are worse places to get stuck in. There are worse places to get stuck in than in the deep freezer at Costco. But yeah, I think this is how I feel during quarantine. That's just how I feel. I'm just lucky to have Eggos, to have those waffles, to tell you the truth. All right, what's the next one? If we forgive student loan debt, what next? We forgive medical debt. We outlaw punitive interest rates. We organize our economy around the needs of the many rather than the interests of the few. Is that what you want? A society where human life has value. Oh, that's not the United States of America, my friend. That sounds like socialism. That's what it sounds like, where human life is valued, where people aren't burdened, because that's part of the system. In case you just don't know anything about the United States of America, the current system is to make sure that you are enslaved to debt from the time that you're born until they put you in the ground. So sure, slavery is officially illegal here in the States, but when you have to pay off tons of school debt, medical bills, your car loan, housing, that is slavery. That is slavery. Debt is slavery. Check out the chat. Oh no, not socialism. Hiss. Oh, here we go. James Henry, glad to see you. I have a lady neighbor who talks and shouts while walking her dog. I live in an apartment complex and this happens in front of the bedroom. That's tough. That's tough, James Henry. I would have difficulty getting along with a person who talks and shouts while walking her dog. Does she shout at the dog too? That would be mean. Or does she just shout randomly, which would just be weird too? Well, John Hudson, you raise an interesting point. If you had waffles, bourbon, and a toaster in that refrigerated section, maybe that would make it, dealable. Maybe that would be okay. Brain bug. Dropping the rhetorical bomb here with saying there's always money when we need a bigger bomb. That's right. People talking about updating the nuclear stockpile. Updating, getting hypersonic weapons. Sure. How are we going to pay for that? There's always money. But as soon as there's anything like COVID relief, everyone, Republicans become fiscal conservatives. Oh, she is not well? I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right about that, Dr. Osiris. Some people should not have pets, just as many people shouldn't have guns. There should be some kind of question and answer period, some kind of screening to make sure that you treat that at least there's some hope, some attempt to make sure that you don't hurt an animal. All right. Good question, Goldie Marks. For those of you who don't know what March 4th is, that's when the new QAnon myth states that Donald Trump is going to be the official president then at that point. Oh, no, I believe you, James Henry. There are many people that should not have animals. And I don't know if there is. I know in the state of Massachusetts and most states, there is a 1-800 number you can call in case you suspect abuse of a minor or someone who's elderly. I don't know if there's the same system for an abuse of an animal here in the States. I'm not sure. You would think there would be a 1-800 number. All right. What's the next meme? Oh, shoot. I guess it's too late to nab him since he already left the bank. A commentary on the impeachment process. On the impeachment, what the craziness that happened yesterday in the Senate, the argument that the argument by the Trump, they just threw things. The Trump team, they're just throwing things at the wall. Bad arguments. Hey, that's good. Goldie Mickens says that Alabama has an animal abuse hotline. That's good to know. All right, so what's the first story that we're going to do? Oh, we're going to talk about the impeachment. We're going to talk about the proceedings yesterday. So here's another question. How many chances should you get to try to violently overturn the government, to run a coup? That might sound like a crazy question, right? Like maybe 10 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago. It would have been crazy to ask, how many chances are you allowed to have a revolution, to violently overturn an election? All the links to the stories, of course, are in the description. Senator Mike Lee, every president should be allowed one failed coup attempt. I wish this was satire. I wish this was just a joke. But it isn't. This is a real story. And don't worry, there's going to be a clip. I'm going to show you a clip of what this guy said. But first, we'll get into the words, the letters. Arguing that everyone makes mistakes, Utah Senator Mike Lee defends Trump's attempted coup attempt while speaking with Fox News before the historical trial for Trump's second impeachment. Begins. Fox 13 Salt Lake City reports hours before the second impeachment trial of now former President Donald Trump began in Washington. Utah Senator Mike Lee, of course Republican, said Trump deserved a mulligan for his involvement in the riots at the U.S. Capitol that left 5 people dead. 5 people? Now you might say to yourself, that can't be right. No one would say anything that crazy. Would they say anything that crazy? Let's look at the clip.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's entitled to a mulligan once in a while.
All right. That deserves to be shown again in case you missed it the first time.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's entitled to a mulligan once in a while.
You know, the same people who think Donald J. Trump should get a mulligan are the same people who think that shooting a black man in the back 7 times is reasonable. There's a Venn diagram, and I'm sure there's a lot of overlap between those two groups. Let's see what else is on for this story. News and Guts reports in golf a mulligan. Oh, this is in case for those of you who don't know what a mulligan is. We'll go over the basic definition. In golf, a mulligan is a do-over, a free shot. It's pretending that the previous bad shot didn't happen. GOP Senator Mike Lee of Utah apparently thinks Donald Trump deserves a mulligan for inciting a riot that killed and maimed police officers, did millions of dollars in damage, and most importantly, destabilized our democracy. But for Lee, all of this doesn't matter. He wants to give Trump a mulligan. I'm not going to say the thing that's obvious. I'm going to wait to go. I'm going to go into the chat. We'll see what your comments are. And then we'll see if we're on vibe in the same wavelength here about this particular topic. Oh, congratulations on Super Chat. Yes, Goldie Mickens. You know, I'm horrible about asking people for money. I feel guilty about it. I put hours into this show every day, but yeah, I feel guilty about asking people for money. I'm not going to lie to you. So hey, if you want to contribute, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Awkward, socially awkward. That's what this is right now. Let's see. Lee is crazy. Yeah. What I saw yesterday left me very angry. Yeah. Yes, YouTube is letting Andy make some money now. Pennies from heaven. Yep, I got a commercial. Hey, Marmaduke Scarlet. Glad to see you here. Hey, Rage. Hope your kid's feeling better. I see that you had to scoot off, but hope your kid is feeling better. And the GOP is a disgrace. Oh, hey, thank you, Goldie Mickens. You know, I know we talked about you being for the cause. Indeed, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm not used to having nice things, so thank you. Even $2.99, it means a lot to me. So I appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, so you know who gave a would-be revolutionary a mulligan? And most of you already know this, right? We're relatively historically aware people here on this show. I think it was in 1923, a little known, well, kind of like, you know, an up-and-coming German politician did a botched revolution in Munich, Germany, the BillPhil Putsch. He was sent away for only a few months, I believe. He wrote his manifesto, and 10 years later, he became Chancellor of Germany. You shouldn't give would-be dictators mulligans. I don't even know what kind of bizarro world we live in where you have to make the argument that, gosh, maybe would-be dictators get a freebie. It's Matt. It's yes, the little corporal. That is correct, Goldie. Sometimes it just hurts my brain just to say the obvious. But yeah, would-be dictators don't get mulligans. All right, what's the next one? Oh, all right. This is going to make us feel better. We're going to feel a little bit better. This is about cats. This is about a cat, a lawyer, and a cat filter. There'll also be a happy little video that we can all see to make us feel better. We got to stagger out. We got to stagger out the funny and the tragic, I guess. All right, here we go. I am not a cat. A lawyer can't control the kitten filter. Hey, this is written by me, by the way, from my own blog, Laughing in Disbelief on Pathos, link in the description. We're going to go with the words, and then we'll go with the funny bit, with a funny video. Here we go. NBC News reported the strange incident with the article, I'm not a cat. Video shows lawyer can't turn off kitten filter during Zoom court appearance. A virtual courtroom hearing came to an abrupt pause. You see what they did there. Clever. NBC News in Southwest Texas on Tuesday when an attorney inadvertently appeared on screen as a computer filter generated cat. The mundane civil forfeiture hearing took a hilarious turn when Presidio County Attorney Rod Ponton arrived in Zoom court in the form of a fluffy white and brown kitten. For about 30 somewhat awkward but mostly funny seconds, Ponton struggled to remove the filter. If you haven't seen this, it is a treat. Let me show you.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to
we're trying to. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to this.
Excuse me. I'm going to joke on my coffee. I am not a cat, Judge. I am not a cat. This lawyer could have done the most incredible lawyering work in all of Southwest Texas, but he is going to be known for this one thing, this one quote, I am not a cat. My cat would defend me. You know, I had a cat, to tell you the truth, Marmaduke Scarlet, that would have nothing to do with me unless it was cold. Around fall and winter, the cat decided it needed my body warmth. And that was my cat for a while. That is priceless, right? Mr. Tobin Templeman, priceless stuff. And you know what, James Henry, you're right. There are times that I am vehemently against the death penalty myself, but sometimes I think, right? Sometimes I think I'm not a cat. What's remarkable about the lawyer, is that he's such a soldier. He was willing just to continue on. He was just going to go through he was just ready to cat filter the F out of the court proceedings. He's like, yeah, I'm a cat. I'm a kitten. I don't care. He was just ready just to plow forward. From what I understand, he was moving his office, and so he had to use a secretary's filter. So I guess his secretary had the Zoom setting to Kitten, which I don't use Zoom. I've used Zoom maybe 5 times in my life. So I guess cat filter, kitten filter is a thing. Yeah, Marmaduke Scarlet. I'm just saying, yeah, my cat never paid me any time until when it was hot outside. All right. So here we go. So what did we cover so far? We went through the Mulligan. That dictator should get a second chance of overthrowing the country, apparently. We talked about the cat, lawyer being a cat, not really managing the cat filter on the Zoom too well. Oh, cat's breaking out. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, I'm going to have to share this. Here we go. I have to change my filter. What are you, a felonist or something? Oh, that's bad. That's bad. See, Goldie Mickens, you're going to start a fight. You're going to start a fight here. Dogs over cats. It's going to get real now. That's what's going to happen. It's going to get real. All right. So, hey, maybe you didn't notice this, but on CNN, on most of the major news channels, there was this impeachment thing going on yesterday. Now, I went on to Fox News around 5 o'clock because they were doing the 5, right? That crappy talk show that they do on Fox News. They do the 5. And they were talking about the evil raising of the minimum wage up to $15. They weren't even talking, of course, about the impeachment on Fox News. But in the rest of normal United States of America on planet Earth, there was a lot of coverage of this impeachment trial. And was Donald J. Trump happy about his defense team, about their performance? No. Trump was not happy. He was angry. Trump was borderline screaming and deeply unhappy over his defense lawyer's performance in his impeachment trial, per report. Gosh, I don't know what's there to be unhappy about. I mean, he switched around lawyers at the last minute. Though I think I probably could have given a better verbal defense than Trump's lawyers, to tell you the truth. That's what I think, at least. But let's check out the story, right? Let's check out the story. Former President Donald Trump was, quote, deeply unhappy, unquote, with his defense at his impeachment trial on Tuesday, according to a CNN report. Multiple sources familiar with the former president's reactions told CNN that Trump was borderline screaming over his lawyer's performance on Tuesday, particularly taking issue with attorney Bruce Castor's rambling opening remarks. Trump's team was also confused over a last-minute decision to swap the order of his defense. Castor, who spoke first, had originally been scheduled to speak after attorney Ben Schoen. Schoen? I'm going to pronounce it that way. People close to Trump thought their new strategy wasn't strong and did not appreciate when Castor praised the opposing side during his arguments, CNN reported. I'll be quite frank with you. We changed what we were going to do on account that we thought the House manager's presentation was well done, Castor said during his remarks. Okay, all right. So everyone remembers Julius Caesar. All right, you probably covered it in high school. And if you didn't, let me Mark Antony's speech. When you want to pivot, right, you might want to start off, friends, Romans, countrymen, I haven't come to praise Caesar, but to bury him. And then, and then you attack the other person. So you say one thing, and then you do the complete opposite. And that might have been the vibe he was going for, but he failed catastrophically. Catastrophically. Was that catastrophically? Kind of like a callback to that cat filter story? Maybe. Castor's behavior so irritated the former president that he reportedly began to question why he even hired the Pennsylvania lawyer, according to the Daily Beast. One source familiar with the matter told the Beast that Trump was even considering pulling Castor from his legal team, leaving the remaining arguments on the shoulders of the rest of the team, in particular, Schoen. I'm going with Schoen. Maybe I should just mispronounce it differently every single time. If he fires him, possibly, maybe we're getting one step closer to Trump wanting to be his own lawyer. I mean, I know it's not probable. It's very low chance of that happening. But if he really gets sick and tired of his lawyer's performance, he's always thinking, I could do it better. I just go out there with my bigly hands, do some mic drops. I'll be perfect. It'd be the most perfect lawyering ever lawyered by a non-lawyer. All right. There's more to the story. At least a handful of Republican senators also said on Tuesday that Trump's defense was executed poorly. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who defected from his party, good job, Bill Cassidy, and voted on Tuesday to declare the impeachment trial constitution, called Trump's lawyers unfocused. Generous. That was generous, calling them unfocused. And good job, Cassidy. The impeachment managers did do a good job. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw the video. That video of what happened outside and inside, very powerful stuff. And it's clear. It's clear that Republican senators, most of them, are not going to vote based on the strength of the arguments made by the prosecution. It's completely political. They are afraid of Trump supporters. They are afraid of their own party base. They're afraid of getting voted out. And let's face it, they are afraid of being attacked by Trump supporters. And that is why they are not going to convict Donald J. Trump. Simply secular. Funny joke. Don't ever let a thing that lives in your house that eats poops and doesn't have a job. Indeed. And you're right, James Henry. There's nothing to defend Trump. The strongest argument, right? And mind you, it's a bogus argument here. It is the argument that as soon as we start putting people on trial that are no longer in office, it creates an incentive for people in office never to leave office. There is an argument to be made there. It doesn't hold up under scrutiny because of, we'll just go with the beer hall putsch scenario. But this is why we're in such a dangerous time, and why in the future we're going to be living in a dangerous country if we don't resolve the underlying issues that face us as a nation. That as soon as, once again, the idea that we are going to be prosecuting people after they get out of office. It does create an incentive for people to stay in office. But once again, it's not a valid argument. And that's the strongest argument the defense has, to tell you the truth. And you're right, David Paul. A lot of these Republican senators are complicit. They created the environment that allowed Trump to happen in the first place. And then they were complicit in allowing him to engage in all kinds of bad behavior during his presidency. Raskin was very convincing. You read about that. Free Thought Caucus, that guy, that Raskin fellow. And you're right, Dr. Osiris. Maybe they should consider not breaking the law during office. Right. It would be nice if we had a political system that could actually try and convict someone while they're in office. That would be nice. That would be nice. It would be nice if we had an institution, a chief executive that wasn't imperial. It would be nice if Congress didn't give the president all this power. Oh, so many things Biden needs to do. So many things the Democrats need to do. I hope that the Democrats are able to get work done to at least shore up the institutions of the democracy here. Oh yeah. You know, we had a lot of discussions on this. I'll bring up the conversation Jack Maturko and I had on our late show a few weeks ago with Professor Adam Kotsko about how the economic system in this country, how the tax cuts, how the institutional racism really brought us to this position where we are right now. And you're right, James Henry. Trump, you know, he's got a lot of, he isn't the brightest guy in the world, but he saw an opening and he went with it. That's what he did. All right. You know, this is around midpoint, right? This is about halfway through the show, maybe a little bit over halfway through the show. I'm gonna show a funny video. Right? I'm gonna give myself a chance to breathe, give you all a chance to breathe, and we're gonna do something funny, something to lighten things up. It's gonna be a quick one too. Does it have a cat and a dog in it? Maybe it does. Let's take a look.
Shack, you hungry?
I don't know if I'm infantile or that I just think that's hilarious. I'm going to show it again. I love it so much.
Shack, you hungry?
All right, there we go. Cats and dogs living together. See, that should help smooth out the waters in the chat about cats versus dogs, right? The cats and dogs living together. There you go, Marmaduke Scarlet. Glad you liked it. Love your avatar. Epic cat right there. Glad you liked it, James Henry. All right, so we were talking yesterday. Talking about the idea about covering some international news. I know many of us are intrigued with New Zealand. I have a couple of people over in New Zealand. I was talking with two filmmakers in New Zealand a couple of months ago about their movie called Older. And it's a beautiful movie, to tell you the truth. I don't know if it's still streaming on Amazon Prime, on Amazon streaming services, but the movie Older, it's filmed in New Zealand. The two men who really organized the movie, who wrote the movie, directed the movie, great guys. And it's a beautiful flick done on a shoestring budget. Myanmar's on my mind. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. But this is about New Zealand, about Middle Earth, and about colonialism, and about neckties, of all things, about neckties. I believe I found this on BBC News. Let me find the story here. Maori. Now, okay. Look, I mispronounce words all the time. I've heard that the word should be pronounced maybe Maori. I don't know. I'm pretty bad about that. So I'm going to pronounce it Maori. If anyone has any better suggestions on how I could pronounce that word, I'm open to suggestions. Maori lawmaker ejected from New Zealand Parliament for refusing to wear a colonial noose, which is a tie. They threw him out because he wouldn't wear a tie. Let's check out the story. Wellington, New Zealand, a New Zealand Maori leader who was ejected from Parliament this week for refusing to wear a necktie in the chamber, said forcing him to a Western dress code was a breach of his rights and an attempt to suppress his indigenous culture. Speaker Trevor Mallard twice prevented, I'm gonna try to pronounce his name, Rawi Watiti, from, I don't know, that's horrible, I'm sorry, from asking questions in the debating chamber on Tuesday, insisting that MPs should only ask a question if they were wearing a tie. Watiti, 40, who became an MP for the first time in the election last October, was wearing I'm going to butcher this word too, a tonga Maori greenstone pendant instead. It's a very nice looking pendant too. When Watiti continued with his question after being stopped a second time, Mallard ordered him to leave. It's not about ties, it's about cultural identity, mate, he said as he exited the main. You know, it's very polite. It's a very polite confrontation, at least how he handled it. It's not about ties, it's about cultural identity, mate. I don't understand. Oh, well, of course I understand. I understand that the person, Mallard, probably didn't like what he was talking about, didn't like how he's looking, and just thought, hey, no tie, you're out. But thankfully, it's New Zealand. Thankfully, it's 2021. And so things turned around. This is for us to stand up against subjugation, to stand up against assimilation, to stand up against those who try and make us look, feel, make us think like the way they want us to think. This was standing up against that. Watiti wore the same attire to Parliament on Wednesday, and this time he was permitted to speak. The noose has been taken off our necks, and now we can sing our songs, he said in the interview. So Twitter blew up, of course, about this. The man, Watiti, he's back in Parliament. I would want an apology, to tell you the truth, for getting my butt tossed out just for wearing my people's traditional dress. So this is a bit about the New Zealand Parliament. It is made, I believe, 50% of women, and it is a very inclusive Parliament. So you ask yourself, you know, even with an inclusive Parliament, people still can do stupid things. It has an 11% LGBTQI representation, 21% Maori representation. The Parliament saw its first MP of African origin and Sri Lankan origin after the election last October. But Watiti, who has called ties a colonial noose, said there is still systemic racism in New Zealand, and this was a product of colonization. Maori are overrepresented in prisons. The majority of children are in state care of Maori, and poverty and unemployment are rife in the community. So good job. I think that it was a weird barrier to break through, but you know, the idea that you have to wear a tie, it's absurd. It's ridiculous and it's absurd. Oh yeah, James Hannon. Your niece is married to someone who's Maori, huh? Interesting. Well, Brits, and I've had conversation with Brits before about this, is that there is this toxic myth about Britain being the good colonial power, of having the good good colonies, and that's not true. That's not true. You don't even have to go to the Opium Wars. You don't even have to talk about the Opium Wars to dispel the myth of the good colonial empire. The good empire, that's an oxymoron unto itself. White colonial privilege behavior, true, out and out. Let's see what else. It is ridiculous. That's what it is. That's what it is. Oh, I should have blooper reels. You know, brain bug. That's a good idea, actually. Brain bug on fire. I mispronounce words too. I have whole blooper reels. Well, the thing is with brain bug, you know, there's a lot of bugs on your channel with scientific terms, not just about the species of the bug, but about things that have to do with a bug. So I could see Maori. Oh, okay, well, thank you, everyone. Now, is that Mao as in Chairman Mao? Maori. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Maori. Oh, Hong Kong. Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a little segment. It doesn't happen every day. We're going to call it the debunking table. If I had my swivel chair down here, I would swivel around in some kind of comedic fashion. So just try to get a mental image of that. But this is going to be a debunking about, you might see this meme out there about Mike Lindell. And as a person who writes satire, there is a certain calculation you write, you have in your head about when you do satire. You want to write things that people want to believe. And we're going to debunk a meme that you may have seen out there. Lindell, Capitol writers were drugged by Antifa, sexually permissive people. You can just imagine that. The word is sluts. So the link is down below. The claim is My Pillow guy, Lindell, Capitol writers were drugged by Antifa trollops. We'll go with that word, huh? And the fake news is My Pillow CEO Mike Lindell is fast becoming known as the center's kookiest conspiracy theorist, and he really is. But he's not. But he didn't do this kooky thing. He didn't do this kooky thing. So if you see this meme, which I actually saw this morning, and this is why it's important to have the toolkit and also the attitude of skepticism, right? So I saw the meme on Instagram this morning, and I said to myself, that seems too good to be true. I haven't heard about this. And Mike Lindell says a lot of crazy things. And I checked on it, and it turned out to be false. So when you're on Facebook, on whatever social media platform you're on, and you see that meme, the one that says that Lindell believes Capitol rioters were drugged by Antifa, that is false. It's funny. It's funny. It's something he could have said, but it's not real. It is a fabrication. It is satire done by a satirical site. Well, I think it might be Jesus in those pillows. What is he filling those pillows with that are causing his brain to rebel against reality? I think he might be stuffing those pillows with Jesus. Might be the wafers. I don't know. Wow, James Henry. Yeah, you know what? Paul Duncan, who writes the satirical blog Out and About Her, he was on the channel, and we were just talking about the best advice he ever had. And he got such bad advice when he was in South Africa that he felt the need to talk about it. And out of his maybe half-hour conversation about the best advice he ever got, he must have spent at least 20 minutes, maybe 18, 20 minutes about the worst advice he ever got. And that was in South Africa by a white person. So you just imagine how that played out. Well, you've been pronouncing it right the whole time, Andy. Well, that's good. I'm quite happy with that. I'll take the win. So yeah, so what did we cover today? If you're just tuning in, we covered many things. We talked about Mulligans, about how one Utah senator went on camera, of course on Fox News, and said dictators, would-be dictators, should get a second shot at dictating. That Trump should be given a mulligan, a do-over. We also talked about the lawyer in Southwest Texas who couldn't figure out a Zoom filter and was just all kittening during a court proceeding. Trump's dislike for his defense team. He wasn't approving of his defense team. And of course, the Maori MP who got thrown out of Parliament because he wouldn't wear a necktie, because he wouldn't wear a tie. Of course, he got brought back in. He was allowed back in. But those were the main stories that we covered. And of course, Mike Lindell never saying that the rioters were drugged by Antifa trollops. Let's do some funny bits. We'll do a funny bit, right? We'll do a funny bit before we start tying everything up here. This is a weird one too. I know I told you that there was a weird one at the beginning of the show. This is also odd.
I just came into the party for the dogs. 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 I don't care about the humans and the jobs.
Hey, is he still in HR?
Jobs.
Yeah, sure am.
I just came here for the dogs. I see that the tail is wagging. I give tummy rubs, head scratches. Human beings will please leave me alone.
So I guess this whole show has been dedicated to cats and dogs. Cats, dogs, the attack on democracy, systemic racism. Like I said, this is I try to make this show somewhat like the Daily Show with only with no budget, one person, and funny things. Well, a light touch. I want to do a light and funny touch as we grapple and struggle with serious topics. And that's what I try to do here. I thought that was hilarious myself. Oh, I like that, Dr. Mordecai. I like the Monty Python reference there. Bring out your dead, get on the Trump train. Oh, James Henry. I'm sorry that happened to you, man. Can you get a mulligan for the last 12 months? Well, you know, John Hudson, I'll give you one. Sure. I'll give you a mulligan. I don't have any problem with that. So, yeah. So what is it? So thanks for showing up, everyone. I appreciate it. I just want to show you this little book. It says Reasons Why I'm Day Drinking. For those of you who know me, I just connected for the first time with my biological family, having been adopted. And so, believe it or not, I'm using this book that my girlfriend gave me to write down important data about my family, because there's a lot of names. And so I just found out last night the names of my brothers. I have 3 brothers, Matthew, Jared, and Zachary. How about that? So now I know the names of my half-brothers. Little steps forward, ladies and gentlemen. Little steps forward. Can America get a mulligan for 2016? I'm sorry, that doesn't work. It does not work like that. If we could only go back in time, maybe there's a better, I'm sure that there is a better timeline out there somewhere. So what am I doing today? 3 p.m. I'm doing Jenga. I'm going to try to get my Zen on. Do I have a little spinny surface? Do I have a little spinny thing to put my Jenga tower on? Yes, I do. How will that be? How will that look? How will my performance on Jenga be affected by playing on an unstable surface? Oh, nothing but hilarity. I'm sure. Nothing but hilarity. Very Christian sounding name. I know James Henry. I know James Henry. I know that. Yeah. Yep. Never too late to connect with genetic relatives. That's right. It is remarkable. It is eye-opening. It does put things in perspective for me, because as you're trying to figure out what's nature and what's nurture, knowing who your genetic peoples are does put things in perspective. So yes, writing down notes about the family. I believe there's going to be a family reunion sometime in August, assuming everyone's been vaccinated up. I will be attending. So yeah, I hope that somewhere Andy has an evil twin. Who knows that I'm not the evil twin, sir? Simply Secular. I could be that evil twin. Or maybe we're both not. Maybe we're just kind of beige. I think morally beige. Holy Mickens. Oh, go to Duncan and get a mocha on me. Thank you. You're very kind. Very kind. Yes, that's right, girlfriend. She just popped in. Andy is the evil twin. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you're here at 3 o'clock, share some more laughs, joke around. I'll be working on my neuroplasticity by working with Jenga and on this spinning surface here. If not, then tomorrow's Thursday, I'll be doing the same thing at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. approximately. And also Pat Green, who was on the show last Sunday, the Sunday night show, The Late Show. He's actually coming on this channel on Thursday night to talk about the best advice he ever got. Made it back, Rage, thank you. You know what? I have my set list, and you can't see it here, but at the very bottom it says Rage. It says Rage. So at 10:30, Rage is doing his show. I don't know what Rage's topic is about today. Wacky theists. I'm going to guess wacky theists. But you should check out his channel. The man is brilliant. He's got insight. He's got a good crew over there. And so everyone, 3 Marmaduke Scarlets, 2 a.m. there. That's a hard time to be awake. Hey, Simply Secular. This is fantastic. I'm going to donate blood with Neil the 604 Atheist and Randolph Richardson this afternoon. If you can give blood and you have the time, it's in you to give. Very positive words there. Very positive wordage. So thank you for the kind words, Mr. Rage. Mr. Rage. Yes, I like that term, Mr. Rage. All right. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Terms and conditions do apply with family. It's going to be an interesting exploration. I was just talking to my girlfriend about this last night. It's like, how do you come out to, this has been one of the topics, right? How do you come out to people who are your genetic family that, you want to maintain the relationship? Well, Pat Green actually did give. Pat Green was a stand-up comic for a while. He has some experience there. So I'm gonna walk as gently as I can into coming out to at least my half sister. We're gonna talk, about who I am and what I do. But that's gonna be a lot of fun. I will see you all awkwardly pivoting at 3 o'clock maybe. If not, I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Head on over to the Rages channel, 10:30. Be good, be strong. Take care, everybody. Bye. What's the epic post going to be today? I think I'll do this.